Hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to provide a template for you to upload your sports trading card singles to eBay in bulk. Rather than going one by one, you can use this spreadsheet and add a bunch of cards at once. So that's my spoiler. This spreadsheet that you're seeing is linked for download in the comments, in the description. You pick. So that's the spoiler. If you want to give up on this video right now and copy this and try it out, by all means go for it. But I will walk through a little bit about what this means, talk about some special considerations, and then also I will upload this just to show you that it works. So this video does not totally get into the theory of eBay bulk upload reports, but I do have several other videos on the topic that have gotten some decent traction, and that's part of the reason why I'm making this video. This is very practical and less on the theory. So anyways, check out the link, follow along if you dare. But this is the template. I want to call out, you're going to need this at the top. This is some eBay boilerplate. This is how it reads, the template. This is on the first row. And at the end of the day, you're trying to save a .csv file, comma separated value file that's basically a dumbed down spreadsheet. I'm using Google Sheets to visualize this as a spreadsheet. You can use Excel. I'm sure there are other options out there, but at the end of the day, you need to save a .csv file, and that is what eBay will accept. So let's walk through it just a little bit. For the most part, these columns that you see, and I'll actually put them in bold just to make it clear for this video. They do not need to be in bold to actually upload. But if there's an asterisk at the beginning of this, of these columns, then in that case, it's probably a required field. Typically, that is how eBay operates with this upload report. If it does not have an asterisk, such as this one, it is optional. You can leave it blank. And I have some examples in this silly sample spreadsheet of nonsense with 7 that kind of talk through a little bit of the nuance that may be involved. So I'll talk through them real quick, and then I'll actually, this has a couple things you can do. I didn't have a draft version, but there's eBay looks for. Of course, not documented, so you sleuth on the internet to figure out those. But if you want to get it added right away to your store, you use the word add. This custom label is equivalent to SKU, which is an acronym and probably something I'm mispronouncing anyways, but it's no matter. This does not go up to sellers. This is for you. Most people, when they use this, are trying to track inventory or a project to analyze with their accounting. So these are just some silly examples. Maybe you store this card in A1. This one on the left side of your shelf, and you bought it on March 17th, 2024. I don't know. It's up to you. This is totally a column that is unique to the individual seller. Category. This one that you're seeing here is for sports trading card singles. This video is only relevant to sports trading card singles. Of course, there's a lot you can learn here to apply to other types of sales. I don't know, t-shirts, trading card lots, which is a different category, concert posters, you name it. But this number is unique to trading card singles. If you are trying to list for something else, you're going to have to look up that category number through eBay's documentation. And you have to know that some of these things may change as a result of having a different category. This next one also depends on some numbers that you don't create yourselves. This is store category. If on your eBay store you have different categories of places where you put your listings, then you will get a number associated with those. And if you put that number in this column here, this will push to that category on your eBay store. And I'll show you what happens when I upload these. Condition ID, this is another code. This is related to, for the most part, is it graded or is it ungraded? Of course, this isn't obvious to anyone, but ungraded is a code of 4,000. Graded is a code of 2,750. So you just need to know that when you're putting these in. Sport, you can put anything here. All the examples today, I just put baseball, but can put any sport there. Player, athlete. One thing I'll call out, if you want to have multiple folks show up on your listing, you got to use this pipe character. The pipe character is how eBay delimits or separates different entries tied to the same field. And so this sample card would be first and foremost of Wade Boggs and also of Don Mattingly, and they would both show up in the player field as two separate folks. Sometimes you see people put listings where maybe Wade Boggs and Don Mattingly have a space between them and it shows up as a single player. If someone is filtering their searches by player, no one's ever going to look for Wade Boggs, Don Mattingly. They're going to look for Wade Boggs and or Don Mattingly. So pretty much the convention for most of these fields, if you want multiple, go ahead and use this pipe character to separate. Team is another one that people search by, so you can see here. Just keep in mind that's not required, but it's generally recommended. Same thing, if I wanted to say, put, I don't know, Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees, I could separate those with a pipe character right here. The next one, is it autographed? And this one has some additional columns of information that pop up if it is autographed, where you can put in more information. So no or yes there, pretty straightforward. Card number, also straightforward. Card name. Let me comment on this one. This is totally optional. I put the term baseball card, or whatever sport it is, for all my entries here because I've read and I do believe that these columns of information show up in the search results. And so rather than waste precious real estate in your listing title, which only has 80 characters to it, I put baseball card as the card name so that if someone searches Justin Leone baseball card, my entry, my listing has a better chance of showing up in that search engine results. So you can do with this what you want. You could put anything. You could put the full name. You could repeat the title. I don't know, but I like putting baseball card just in case it does help me in the search results. This type, this is going to be the same for everything in the sports trading card singles category, and that is just sports trading card. But let's move on to the second half of this. One comment as I move on, these columns do not have to be in this specific order. However, if you do download the spreadsheet, the .csv file that I provide, they will be in this order. They don't have to be. eBay reads them and it figures it all out in the background about where it puts it in your listing. So here's one. Autograph authentication. I guess I should also comment, you'll see this C colon at the beginning of a lot of these, and that's because they are item specifics, item characteristics, maybe one way to think about it, but all of these C items are specific to the category of sports trading card singles. And so for things like clothes or concert posters or coins, obviously they're going to be different, and that's where you need to do your research and get more into the eBay documentation and less into this joker on YouTube who's walking you through what he does. But for sports trading card singles, good category to have. You can see if it's not autographed, leave it blank. If it is autographed, put who authenticates it, Upper Deck in this case. Card size, standard. Other options you can look through while creating an individual listing, but maybe it's a small card that is tobacco sized, which is another common entry for, say, Topps, Allen, and Ginter minis. Is it vintage? No or yes. eBay actually defines vintage as, I think, more than 20 or 30, maybe more than 30 years old, which I think is rubbish. To me, vintage is before 1980, 1979, or before, but according to eBay's definition, even if you have something from 1989, it's considered vintage. So up to you on how you handle that. I typically go by the convention of 1980, and that's me being a snob more than anything. Season, this is another one. You can imagine if it's a sport like hockey or basketball, you would have 2019-2020 as an option to put in there. Year manufactured, almost always going to be the same. In fact, when I'm doing this, I have a shortcut code that really generates most of these things for me, but it just sets them both to be the same. Manufacturer, we all know that. Parallel variety, this one I'm pretty confident only allows one entry, so you can't enter more than one thing here. It's just a standalone single item. And so this would be the example of, say, a Topps Gold parallel. Features, these are other words that you probably want to use eBay's words instead of your own. And the reason for that is because when you're creating a single listing, eBay will give you some check boxes to pick with certain words like memorabilia, like serial numbered, like parallel/variety. And if you use their words, rookie, another example, you're going to have a better chance of showing up in results if a user filters by these. So say you put in rookie card here. I'm pretty sure it'll actually push to eBay and show up as rookie card in your features field. But if the average Joe or Jane is out there filtering, they may just filter by rookie, which is by and large what eBay uses to describe a rookie card. So you want to use their words, not your own, if you can handle that for this field. Set, this is pretty much the year, manufacturer, and product. You can see some examples here. Sport, this is another thing where you'll see a lot of people put nonsense in their listings, but these are the conventions that eBay uses, typically the full spelling of the league and then the acronym in parentheses. And you want to use that just in case someone filters by MLB. In this case, you're going to have a better chance of being found. Print run, here's another one. This should be an integer. You can leave it blank if it's not print run. Language, I don't know why anyone would filter for this, but you never know. I do sell Japanese baseball cards on occasion, and I will change the language field to Japanese. Maybe someone out there filters by language for purposes of finding Japanese cards. Not sure. The overall lesson to take away is you don't know how someone else might get to your card, and you want to give the best chance possible for your card to show up in the search results. All right, I have a full video on these next three fields: shipping profile name, return profile name, and payment profile name. These are things you have to set up in your store options. You can see I put free ESE, optional 449 ground advantage. That is a policy name that I dictated. If you try to upload this spreadsheet without editing it, these are the fields that are going to cause it not to work. It's going to say, hey, I don't see this policy in your store's policy. So watch my other video or figure out how to change your policy names. And this is the exact name as it shows up for your store. So that is why this is showing up as kind of free ESE, optional 449 ground advantage. That's something I set up elsewhere, and I'm copying the name of that here. Same thing with free returns. That's another thing that I've set up. Payment profile. This happened to be my default. You're probably going to have a different number than this, so the same story goes. You need to go into your store and you need to select the appropriate profile names for shipping, returns, and payments to put into this spreadsheet. Title. This is very important. You get 80 characters to play with, so don't go over than 80 characters. In my shortcut version, I have a automated Python script that fills up as much as I want, but it doesn't go over 80 characters. But you just need to make sure that this stays under 80 characters. And using as much real estate as possible is going to help you. So those are some examples of titles. This next one. Images. You get, I think, up to like 24. They've changed this in the past few years, so who knows what it is. But this is a direct, publicly accessible URL to an image. And I'll just show you here what it looks like. For instance, this happens to be a Wei-Yin Chin card. Again, this is a silly spreadsheet. I'm just picking random things and putting them together to show you how to make things own and how to make things different. But this is just an image file that is publicly accessible. Anyone with this web link can go to it. And you can see here, I got it pipe delimited. So I have first link, pipe, second link. Of course, this is going to be the back of the card. And you can put more than two. You don't have to just put two, but you just keep putting pipes, keep putting more images back there, and they have to be publicly accessible. So I had trouble back in the day when I was starting out with this using Google Drive, making things publicly accessible, but I use pCloud now, which uses a different website for their public folder. A lot of options here. Start price. So this is equivalent to a buy it now price if it's a buy it now listing, or a start price if it's an auction. Quantity. I'll go ahead and just change this. Why not? For upload purposes. That way you'll be able to see multiple quantities involved. Location, that's going to be your city, state abbreviation. It'll take that and populate your listing with that. Format, I almost always use fixed price or auction, and this is how you spell those, no spaces. The next one is best offer enabled. I like doing this for pretty much all my listings, sometimes even auctions, but for buy it now, I put this in here, and even if you read eBay's documentation, this column is kind of hard to interpret or find. So you just need to call it best offer enabled in typical capital BOE, and it's a 1 if you want it enabled or blank if you don't. For Byte Now listings, you're going to want to put GTC pretty much for everything. That means good till canceled. And then for auction, just be mindful that some auction lengths, I think 1 and 3 day auctions, have fees associated with them. So you want to stick to, I think, 5, 7, or 10. But you can choose. You can put it in here. All right, we are finally, just almost finally to the end here. The last few things I'll mention. Description. If you want to be real nifty and set yourself apart from other people, go ahead and use HTML formatting here. In this, if you look at these, and I'll show you once I upload them, but this will convert everything to nicely formatted with line breaks, with lists, with bold, with italics, that type of stuff. There are a lot of online tools where you can generate HTML, and for all my listings, I read a text file and just automatically copy these in with a Python script, so it's totally hands-off. But if you're just getting started with this stuff, maybe you're not as advanced on computer skills as other people, or as you would like to be, you can go ahead and just copy something and then paste it over and over again, or drag and fill the cells using something like Excel or Google Sheets. But that's what this formatting is, where you see these carets and P and UL and LI. That is HTML. And again, many websites out there that would love to convert your stylized text to HTML code. All right, last 3. These are very important. You got to keep these names the same as shown. But basically, if it is ungraded, they have different categories. You remember the 4,000 means ungraded, and then this 10, 11, 12, that dictates between, is it near mint, is it excellent, is it very good. I think eBay has currently 4 different ways to assess card condition for raw cards, and this is actually a required field. Doesn't have that asterisk, but it is required. And so you're going to have to look up that dictionary of terms to know which of the 4 codes that you want to use associated with your card's condition. And that's for the ungraded case. However, for graded, there's a code tied to the actual grader, whether it be PSA or SGC or something else. You're going to have to pick the code specific to that grader. And then similarly, for the grade from 0 to 10, including the half, like 8.5 type steps, there's a different code associated with each of those grades. And you're going to have to pick both of those tied to what's actually graded, and what your grade is and who the grader is. So anyhow, enough rambling. You're going to take this spreadsheet, you're going to click download. You're going to download it as a CSV. You can see it goes to that folder there. And then the way you do this on eBay, go to your reports tab. I'm on the Seller Hub now. You're going to click upload. X out of this nonsense, and then you want to click upload template. And so I call this, where did I just download this? Right here. I'm going to go ahead and click that. It's going to work. So you can see it here. Upload is in progress. So again, these are silly listings. They don't actually mean anything. You can see how often I use this. See all these other ones? These are all legit uploads. So I'm doing this video to help other people, but I use this all the time. This is my go-to way to list cards. You can download results if you really want. Probably recommended as you're just getting started. But let's go ahead and check these out. Let's go ahead and see these things live on the store. And I always fumble this, so this is not going to be as graceful as I wish it was. But let me go ahead and sort by time left. I'm going to end up deleting these, but I want to show you what it looks like once it goes through and exactly how quick it is. All right. What else should we talk about? I think, kind of as I hinted at, my biggest takeaway is that filling out this sheet saves a lot of time, especially for stuff that is common. Say you're listing a bunch of singles from a single set, like 2011 Topps Update or something. You can go ahead and fill a lot of these column values on Google Sheets, on Excel, at minimal added time. So that's a really good way to do it. I use a Python script to make it really minimize my inputs, but that is not for everyone. Alrighty, so check this out, and you can see I have these dumb images that I just pulled from my repository, but these are the exact fixed price listings that I put on here. So let's go ahead and check this one out, and I'll prove to you that the settings work. Again, pay no mind to the image, which is not correct. But for this one, you can see I set it at a price of $23.66 and applied a bunch of other stuff to it. And here we go. That's the price. And if you scroll down and you go to the item specifics, this is all the same information, including that condition. So the code I put is for ungraded, very good, as opposed to near mint or excellent. And all of this information populates in my listing. And here's what that HTML looks like. So you can see it's nicely formatted, easy to read. If I'm interested in handling the return policies, I can just scroll down there if I'm looking to buy this card. So that is hopefully some proof that this thing works. And again, really powerful if you can just automate or shorten your ways to get these things entered. Cool. And I'll show you the example of a graded one, I guess, while we're still out here. But this one will have different information based on the grader. And so you can see I put PSA 8 in the title. If I do that, that's great, but they also have to be in these descriptions. And so you can see this thing says PSA 8. I didn't type this exactly, but I put the code for the grader, which is PSA, and the code for the grade, which is 8. So they both show up in there. So anyways, hope you found this helpful. Again, this spreadsheet is for your use. If you would so choose to do that, in the comments, in the description, go ahead and download it. And remember, the only thing that you're going to have to really change to get working is this shipping, return, and payment profile name. So hope you found this helpful. Go ahead, check out my other videos if you like content like this. We'll see you at the next one.